International Speedway is win on Sunday, sell on Monday. And that motto holds true for two wheels as well as four. Every manufacturer who has a speedster they want to strut knows that the ultimate proving ground is the serpentine twists and turns of the world center of racing. That task of building these racy reputations rests squarely on the shoulders of some of the top riders in the world. Men who know how to showcase a machine in a showdown that pays off at the showroom. So if you're going for glory and want your machine to move, the place to start is Daytona. American Sports Cavalcade proudly presents the AMA Supersport Challenge and Super Twin Race featuring Harley-Davidson motorcycles from the legendary Daytona International Speedway. No one who saw it will ever forget the 600 Supersport race we brought you from Daytona just 1 year ago. It was a slugfest, war, lap after lap, until finally Mike Smith on the Smoke and Joe's Honda eked out a victory coming out of the final corner. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans. The excitement that came out of that race and others in '94, plus the intense competition between manufacturers to sell the road machines the Supersport bikes so closely resemble, has elevated this from maybe preliminary to main event status. And I think the real proof is the world-class riders you'll see today that the factories have urged to participate on these machines that normally don't, including 1993 Superbike world champion Scott Russell on the new Kawasaki Ninja.
You know, they asked me to do this in December, and I thought, well, what a great deal. You know, it'll be a lot of fun to get out there, and then hopefully we can win it.
You didn't say, oh, do I have to?
I said, give me a bunch of money, and I'll do it.
I have no doubt that Mr. Russell is being well compensated for today's efforts. In fact, probably a big fat bonus if he can win, because a victory will sell Kawasaki's. And nobody knows that better than the folks at Honda, which is why on their newly designed 600, they have plunked down past Daytona 200 champion Miguel Duhamel.
It's a war. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it goes out there. There's a lot of importance for the 600 class. They're wonderful machines. I think they know that, and the people out there know that. They're buying those bikes, and they're the greatest thing to have. And the F3 now is no reason to get a 750. You got to get yourself an F3 Honda. It's the fattest bike out there.
Where do I sign Miguel? Now, this was last year. Number 4, Steve Crevier, remember, came up a bike link short to Mike Smith. He's qualified well again on the Kawasaki. And earlier, my pal Ralph Shaheen chatted with him.
Let's talk about the 600 series. That is becoming one of the most hotly contested divisions in the entire AMA spectrum. What do you got to do to win that thing this year?
I'm not sure. I don't think anybody's sure. There's a lot of guys. I mean, we got Scott Pollins, Miguel, and Mike Hale's coming on strong. Like, you know, the Hondas and the Kawasaki's are leading the way, especially the Kawasaki's this year. We got the new ZX6, and that thing is the fastest motorcycle, 600 I've ever sat on or, you know, had the pleasure of riding. I think it's better racing than anything. It's such a tight pass. You know, they throw a blanket over the leaders all the time. It doesn't get any more interesting. I think that there's going to be so much swapping for lead this year, it's going to bore the fans, you know. It's like everybody's maybe used to waiting for Doug Poland and Scott Russell to do a lead change, you know, 5 or 6 times in a race. Well, in the event of this, the 20-lap 600 race, it could happen 30 and 40 times. You know, it's just going to, I don't think anybody's going to run away. If someone does, I hope it's Scott. My race isn't with Scott and Doug. It's with the American riders to get an American 600 championship. That's what I'm shooting for. So, but it's going to be interesting.
Steve, 40 lead changes at 20 laps. Well, stay with us, folks. You can count them yourself when we return to Daytona International Speedway for the start of the 600.
Brought to you by Kawasaki Motorcycles. For the dealer near you, call 1-800-661-RIDE.
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven.
Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was, prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome gleaming in the sun. For real? Or am I just dreaming?
The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets. Every year, more than 17 million cars are entrusted to the experience of Jiffy Lube. More than 17 million cars are entrusted to the experience of Jiffy Lube. And Jiffy Lube offers Pennzoil. Jiffy Lube, the world's most experienced oil changers. That's why if it doesn't say Jiffy Lube, it just isn't Jiffy Lube.
It's on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my side.
At 5:01, work time ends and Miller time begins. Because nothing finishes a day like a beer that always finishes smooth. Miller High Life. Your time, Miller time.
Now at Pep Boys, get any 4 of our 35,000-mile all-season steel-belted tires at an incredible low $109. That's right, any 75 or 80 series, any 4, just $109 at Pep Boys now.
We thought you'd like to know that Lamborghini insists on Meguiar's to create brilliant high gloss and protect the finish on their cars. Meguiar's Cleaner Wax, rated #1 for product quality, performance, and brand loyalty. Welcome back, everyone, to the AMA Daytona Supersport Challenge. I'm Steve Evans, along with Ralph Shaheen. And Ralph, at the top of the show, I talked about the quality of riders. Look at this.
You know, Steve, the front of this grid looks like the front of the Daytona 200 by RI itself in the Superbike race. There are some of the best riders in the world in this race here. We've got world champions in here. We've got national champions in here. And out of these 20 rows of 4, there's some of the best regional racers in the world. And with everybody on basically the same type of motorcycle, it's really going to come down to rider skill. So you never know. Some of the regional racers might be able to pull off the big win here.
Well, one thing that Scott Russell and Miguel Duhamel and Kosinski are going to have to remember is the tires under them are DOT legal street tires. They're basically racing rubber with tread, but that tread takes away from the contact patch, and there's things you can't do with these bikes.
That's right, Steve. You know, a lot of these riders, the big-name riders, were here earlier in December testing their bikes, getting ready as we get the green flag. So they do have a bit of an idea what they can expect. And it looks like it's Scott Russell who's away first down into turn number 1.
It sure is. He's earning that paycheck. Number 110, Russell on the Kawasaki. That's Miguel Duhamel, number 117 in the Honda behind him. Pascal Pocono to Kawasaki in the 3rd spot. And this truly is a sprint race, folks. There's no pit stops. And they will hit the fastest speeds they'll attain anywhere in this country this year.
Without a doubt, the backstretch here at Daytona is by far the fastest piece of racetrack. These 600s will be on all season long.
But as you'll notice, as we make this first lap of the circuit, probably the most important corner isn't really a corner at all. We'll show it to you when we get to what they call the chicane.
This is Russell and Duhamel right now. The Kawasaki, the ZX6, and the M3 Honda. You can see the rear end switching around a little bit on Russell. He would like nothing more, Steve, as that's Pascal Picot behind them in 3rd, than to break away and take Miguel with him. He feels very comfortable racing with Miguel. They can break away, draft with each other, open up a big lead, and then settle it between themselves on the last lap.
Look at Miguel. He goes down low. This may be the first lead change that Steve Brevier predicted. Whoa, and Russell is slow, and Russell's got a problem.
There's Pascal Picot, comes rocketing by on the 112. He'll go from 3rd to the lead on the first corner, and Russell has slowed dramatically.
And the leaders for the first time are headed into that chicane I was talking about. Engineered to slow them down a little bit before they get up on the high bank. And it's how much speed you can carry out of the chicane up on the banking that can make the difference at the end of this day.
Steve, Scott Russell right now is running in 7th and getting ready to fall further back. You can see Miguel looking for him.
Up high is Picot. Down low, Duhamel. Whoa, and we got a couple of them down at the chicane. That's number 18. I know for sure Robert Wright on a Honda. And the other bike, we're told, is number 116, James Randolph of Kawasaki. But back to the leaders.
Boy, that looked like a hard get-off, too, as we storm down into turn number 1. This is one of the scariest parts on the racetrack for these riders because you carry so much speed to the tri-oval, and you have to brake as late as you absolutely can into turn number 1. Through here, the bike is real twitchy, and then you set it up for the first of the horseshoes. Mike Hale running in third. There's Michael Barnes, Kaczynski behind him, and then Crevier. Whoa, look at Barnes dance that bike around the area in Honda real loose.
He had it in a bit of a slide, and when it hooked, it almost high-sided him off. You know, let's talk a little bit about Kaczynski. Controversy seems to follow him wherever he goes, and Daytona this year, no exception.
John Boy, a former 250 world champion, has not been on one of these types of motorcycles since 1989 when he won here. But the problem was he's a Michelin rider, and Michelin did not know that he was coming to Daytona to run the 600 until about a week ago. They didn't have enough tires for him and Doug Poland. They told both those riders they could go to Dunlop, get the proper tires that they wanted. Jim Allen, in charge of Dunlop's racing program, said no way would he sell tires to John Kaczynski. Since Kaczynski only races for himself, they've had problems with him in the past. They didn't want to deal with him. As you watch Miguel make a pass here, Kaczynski had to buy his Dunlop tires off of somebody else's trailer. How's that?
And right now he's in the top 5 on a tire that he doesn't know a whole lot about, and tires will be critical before this is over.
Look at Mike Hale on the other Smokin' Joe's Honda coming into the fray here.
Mike Hale, primarily a dirt track ace. This is really his second season on pavement. He didn't run a whole season last year, but boy, a lot of people are excited about his future.
He is going to be one of the better ones to come out of the dirt track, Steve, who will move on to the road racing. He has definitely got it figured out. And a couple of the best from Canada right now up front having at it here with Chicotte and Duhamel.
The draft is so important here, it can't be overemphasized.
It's absolutely everything. There is no other thing here that is more important when it comes to actual racing than the draft. And this is just what we expected out of it. You've got 6 riders running nose to tail, all with a chance at the win. And if they stay like this, don't count the guy in 6th place out, because on that last lap coming out of that chicane, you can go from 6th to 1st in a heartbeat.
What a marvelous sport. It's dangerous, obviously, but the athleticism and the timing and just the sheer bravery of the men involved, I think makes it just a classic. I think it's going to rise in popularity in the U.S. as it has in the rest of the world.
Well, as everybody calls it when they watch motorcycle road racing like this, look at Barnes making the strong move. Well, that's actually Kaczynski just behind Barnes that makes the strong move. And you see Barnes, the bike's still twitching around on him a little bit.
And here comes Crevier.
Steve is like a pit bull. Crevier is very, very aggressive, and when he gets the smell, he will really go after you. And another challenge for the lead here between the Smokin' Joe's riders.
They do not race as a team. They're individual out there to try to win the race the best way they can. And look at him on the outside.
Pascal getting hard into the throttle of that Ninja, the new ZX6, and he is working it down the backstretch.
Pascal in the 112 Kawasaki played the draft just beautifully. He came from 3rd to 1st place in just a heartbeat. But Miguel Duhamel right on his rear fender. And Miguel seemingly content to ride in 2nd place for the time being. Maybe save that rear tire. What happened to the pole sitter, Scott Russell? What happened?
I'm not sure, Ralph. On the top end, the bike went flat, you know, on the warm-up lap, and just wouldn't run. Basically over 10 grand, and I thought maybe, you know, I thought for sure something was wrong with it for sure on the warm-up. So I pulled around, they added the gas, and I said it's not going to work. Then it cleared out, and I thought, well, maybe it will. And then we started and then took off, and I let it all the way to hit the banking again. It says I got 11 grand up on the bank, and it just quit running.
Amazingly, Scott Russell's day is done early.
But out on the racetrack, Miguel Duhamel, I was wrong. He went right around Pascal Picotte for the lead.
Steve, look at Michael Barnes on the 34 now. He's starting to apply some serious pressure to the backside of Mike Hale on the 23. Harold Honda's there.
And steadily moving up on another Honda is the man we talked about, Kaczynski, on that question mark tire. That's spiked for 169. He's coming. It's back. Kaczynski right now, a lot of pressure on Michael Barnes for that 4th position. And it's Kaczynski, yes, on the inside.
You would be hard-pressed to find a lot of people around the world who will not tell you that John Kaczynski is one of the most naturally talented road racers they've ever seen. In fact, Carl Fogarty, who's made so much noise here all week with his thinkings about Americans and so forth, the reigning world Superbike champion, says that he even said Kaczynski's one of the best racers he's ever seen.
Well, I was at Laguna Seca 2 years ago when Kaczynski won the USGP on that Kaczynski. It was unbelievable performance.
Well, there he goes side by side with Michael Barnes to the chicane, and Kaczynski's got the preferred inside line. Got him.
Kaczynski, as you said, has not been on one of these bikes in about 6 or 7 years. What a performance so far.
And don't think that it's such a simple thing that one motorcycle is just like another, because when you go from a full Grand Prix, oh, we got another one down, 2 riders down, and almost fewer.
Ooh, number 65, that was J. Andrews Melton. He appeared to be all right. That was just entering the banking where they got off. Look at this great high shot.
Oh, and a red flag is out, Steve.
Yep, for safety's sake, AMA is going to stop this race. They've got riders down on the racetrack, not taking any chances. When it is restarted, it'll be in this order. Pascal Pacat will be up front, followed by Duhamel in the Honda, Mike Hale, Michael Barnes, and John Kaczynski. Stay with us, everybody.
This summer, Napa's keeping America running at about 200 miles per hour with the Road to the Championship sale. You could win an incredible trip to the Napa 500 in November, as well as Napa racing jackets and more. Also pick up Napa silver oil filters from just $1.99 and selected Evercraft tool sets, your choice only $9.99. But hurry, these days everything's going fast at Napa.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
The time is 5:01. The beer is Miller High Life, and the reason is clear. When the time is your own, it must be Miller time. Miller time, Miller beer.
Yes, it is.
You can compare the Suzuki RS to a lot of things. Another motorcycle isn't one of them.
You just spray it on? You just spray it on.
Quicksilver wheel cleaner from Armor All. Just spray it on, and then just spray it off.
That's it? That's it.
Quicksilver wheel cleaner.
In the Army National Guard, you'll be challenged like never before. Trained to protect your country and serve your community. Accept the challenge. Become the best. The Army National Guard. Americans at their best.
We're back and still under red at the Supersport Challenge race. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. Remember, the Harley-Davidson still to come after this race. Right now, let's go to Ralph down on pit row.
Well, Miguel, a pretty torrid pace being set out there. What's it like on top of the bike?
Feels good. A lot of wind. But besides that, everything is going pretty well. And I saw Scott. I knew like maybe we were going to start playing games, but I heard his bike was not working very well in the banking, so I passed him. My plan was to stay behind him for a while, see what's going on, but unfortunately he dropped out, so I don't know what's going on. I just know that, you know, my plan was I'm going to start breakaway, and I think I was starting to do that, and the red flag came out. This really familiar to 1991. I think we had 3 of these in my race in 91.
Tell us about it, Miguel. Folks, this was the first year we came to Daytona, and he's absolutely right. Lots of riders down in that race just about wore the red off at the end of the stick. After 91, we became big fans of the people that make the safety equipment for these riders, the leathers, the helmets, the gloves, the back braces, because no one was seriously injured. And Miguel remembers right, there were 3 red flags. This was the final one for a rider that was down that we had great concern over, who later proved to be okay. But when the green came out, it was Miguel emerging with the win, and finishing 5th that year was the guy who was in 4th when the red came out here today. And that is Michael Barnes with Ralph.
Boy, there's some pretty fierce racing up through the tri-oval here. In fact, you had Kaczynski right alongside you, and it didn't look like you were backing off at all. You making a statement here to him?
No, not to him. None whatsoever. I'm just trying to run my own race, and until everything gets real sorted out, and it was just starting to get sorted out there to where I believe John and I can work together to get up front. And I think that's really going to be the key to this race, is to try to find somebody to work with. You know, it's the same thing as NASCAR. Here at Daytona, the draft plays such a big game that we just really need to not slow each other down and all be there on the last lap. As I finished last year 5th, on the last lap I went from 3rd to 9th to 5th. So I know what can happen here at Daytona, and this looks to be one of the best shows that there's going to be in Supersport racing yet.
Michael, of course, riding the Arian Honda. These are some of the new Smokin' Joe's Hondas. And earlier, Steve took an up-close look at the new Honda.
Does racing really benefit the guy in the street? In the 600 class and AMA road racing, most definitely. Now, let's say the Honda team. They've got some ideas. They can build a better bike. It has to first be on the street, okay? The new 600 has bigger brakes, a safety factor, maneuverability. Now, it also has a lot more horsepower because of a very simple ram air device right here. Air inducted here. You got a little supercharging effect at speed. Comes up and into the carburetors. Before, it just inducted the air right up here, and it was just kind of dead. This has really improved the torque curve on these motorcycles. They'll do a wheelie now by just rolling on the throttle. You don't have to nudge it up at all.
And I say again, Miguel, where do I sign?
Ralph right now, well, he's with the top-running Kawasaki. Pascal Pocono can't wait for the restart.
Well, it looks pretty exciting from down here. The racing up front looks pretty sordid. You comfortable with that pace?
Oh, of course I am, you know. We have to save a little bit of rear tire because it's already started to be a little bit greasy. So I was pretty comfortable with that pace so far.
That's the hardest thing for us to understand, that there's some left in the bike. It looks like you're just letting it all hang out, but you do have some left.
We have a little bit, I think, more top end than the Honda. So if I'm right there just behind him, I can draft pretty easy and beat him if I'm right there at the end. So we'll see. I just have to save a little bit my rear. But if I try to save a little bit too much, Miguel's going to break away, so I'm going to be dead.
Hey, Pascal, who's to say Miguel isn't holding back a little bit himself, huh? Stay with us. We'll find out when the flag goes green.
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven. Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was, prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome, gleaming with sun. For real? Or am I just dreaming?
The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets.
We thought you'd like to know that Lamborghini insists on Meguiar's to create brilliant high gloss and protect the finish on their cars. Meguiar's Cleaner Wax, rated #1 for product quality, performance, and brand loyalty.
Mark Chestnut takes the stage for a good cause.
So we can help these big kids.
Ben Johnson's Pro Celebrity Rodeo, Saturday on CNN.
It doesn't get any closer.
Last year, it was a Winston Cup war. Ernie Irvin's early lead got pushed in the dirt, but Ernie clawed back, then got loose, yielded to the man in black. In the end, Ricky Rudd's late race sin cycle laundered Earnhardt and gave Ricky his first win as an owner. It's the Winston Cup Slick 5300, July 9th, 1 p.m., noon Central on TNN Motorsport.
It's going to be a wide-open paint-swapping war.
I guess every kid dreams about being a racer sometime or another. I never imagined anything like this. You see the fans and how fired up they get? I guess racing's like life to me. You can never really control it. But if you give it everything you got and give a little bit of luck, it's going to be okay.
TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer.
Hi, I'm Nick Charles, and I'm another voice against violence. I want to talk to you about guns and teenagers. This gun stuff, it's way out of control. And it isn't just a city problem. It's in the suburbs, too. Guns affect everybody. Black, white, brown, Asian, rich, poor. It's time we all work together. Put an end to this gun culture. Because violence solves nothing. Please think about it.
Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. Ralph Shaheen and Steve Evans with you. We're just about set for the restart. The board goes sideways. Well, we get a 1 minute. Now we're sideways in green.
Oh, and I'll tell you somebody that got a beautiful start, and that was 23 Mike Hale on the Honda, pulling right in behind Pascal Picat, 112. Pascal was the leader when the red flag came out. A lot of bumping and running, but everybody stays right side up somehow.
That was Thomas Wilson on the number 2 Kawasaki. He's not getting banged around. Here comes wave number 2. With so many riders, Steve, they have to do it in 2 waves, and everybody gets a clean shot at breaking away safely.
As you said, some of the top AMA club racers from all over the country getting their 15 minutes of fame, actually their 20 laps of fame here at Daytona. Nobody misses this opportunity.
Good news for Pascal Picat is the fact that Steve Crevier is now running up in 3rd. So finally there's another Kawasaki in the mix with all these Hondas here.
As they say in NASCAR, he might have himself a dance partner if he needs it up on the banking.
You gotta have one. There's Hale, there's Duhamel on the 117, Michael Barnes right behind them in that bright red, white, and black Arian Honda. What a pretty bike that is in the paddock area, too. The Arian team doing a great job, the paint scheme on that bike.
You know, one of the secrets to riding these motorcycles very quickly, I'm told, is that when you're leaning it over, as they do, holy smoking knee pads, Batman, is as quickly as possible, get it right back up so that you've got maximum tire and you can whip it on.
Transferring the weight is a very tough thing to do, and you got to be smooth with it, especially on the banking. A lot of riders are telling us now that they're even way tipped over on the banking, trying to get that bike to turn as quickly as they can. The chicane section here is just ungodly fast nowadays. How fast these guys get through that chicane is just mind-boggling. If you get a chance to, as a fan, you can walk out to that part of the area of the racetrack. Look at how close they're getting up on the banking. There's a lot of paint swapping going on there. I don't care what Michael Barnes said. They're all trying to intimidate each other.
And that was Michael Barnes and Miguel Duhamel, possibly touching at, what, about 165 miles an hour?
Absolutely, and they're talking now about the fact that the motorcycles are slipping the tires through the tri-oval section. They're carrying so much speed through there. The bikes are just dancing all over the place. This is not a racetrack for the faint of heart if you want to run quickly.
Especially not on a treaded tire. Miguel Duhamel cutting off every foot of this racetrack he possibly can. Over the rumble strips and all. I think Miguel has been so loose this weekend. Well, if you notice that, he's been running around quoting lines from Pulp Fiction, his new favorite film.
Oh, ZZ, baby. That's his favorite one right there. ZZ, baby.
But I tell you what, this field may be dead if they don't do something quickly, because Miguel is stretching it out.
Of course, Miguel has had great successes here, winning the Daytona 200. The Duhamel family has had great success here. His father, Yvonne Duhamel, having tremendous luck at the Speedway. Miguel would love nothing more than to get back on this 600 and once again let everybody know he is a former 600 national champion. He could very easily do it again here this year. Nothing like starting off at Daytona with a win to let everybody know you're serious about it.
And right now he is truly backing up the boast that we had at the top of the show. Those weren't boasts, they were just facts. It's a bullet. In fact, yesterday, Miguel took the 600 out and practiced with the 750 Supersport, blew their doors off, came back and he said, oh, this fight.
And, you know, it's not just Miguel that is saying that, Steve, as we watch this battle for second here between Picat on the 112 and Barnes on that 34. It's every rider we talk to. There's Takahiro Mori on the 42 and Doran right behind them on the other bike. Those riders getting up into the mix. And Mori's getting pretty good. He's been running in the series the last couple of years. Takahiro is really getting to be a player to contend with. But to get back to what you said, every professional rider we talked to says they have more fun on the 600 than they've ever dreamed of having on a 750. Plus, it's better on your insurance because it's under 750cc.
That's right. You may be asking yourself what happened to Mike Smith. You talked about him. He won last year. Well, he's no longer with Team Honda. He now rides for the Ducati factory, and they simply don't have a 600 production machine.
Riders just dancing through that S section there, and it's a very impressive thing, too, because that guardrail on that left is right there at your face shield as you come sweeping through that corner down into the first of the horseshoes. And you dance across the infield here. There's a bit of a kink through this section right here. And you make your way over to the other dog leg, or the other horseshoe.
I have a feeling Miguel up front is saying, Lord, don't make it another 1991. I got a big lead, let me keep it. And
that's
right
exactly right. He does not want to have to bring that bike to a stop again. He's got a nice, healthy lead. He just wants to strengthen that lead and slowly pull away. And I'm amazed he's able to do it without some help and ground.
Okay, the race for third is a good one. Number 34, Michael Barnes on the Honda. Cormier, number 4, the Kawasaki. 23, Mike Hill on the Honda. That is third, fourth, and fifth, respectively.
The other thing that's surprising here, Steve, is the poor restart by John Kosinski. As we continue to watch this battle for third, here's Barnes now on the outside.
Crevier on the inside.
Just a textbook pass there. Now here comes Hale with the horsepower under the draft.
Look at Hale. Use his body as an airfoil to help slow that motorcycle down as they come off the banking onto the twisty part of the infield. So I take it you use every finger, every toe. You use your earlobe to do this kind of rubber. It's unbelievable.
You really have to be in sync with the motorcycle to make it work just properly. Look at how Crevier is sticking the nose up behind Barnes. If he stays in there too long, he's going to get dizzy from the fumes.
Oh, talk about the intimidator. How would you like to have a guy that close to you at this speed and you ain't got a roll bar?
Kosinski now starting to catch up to this pack. He's reeled them in. For the former 250 world champion, he'll get a shot at working his way up through here. Maybe he can do something with Miguel.
You know, as far as power is concerned, it's not going to get the attention of Kosinski. Miguel's got plenty of it in the Honda. Look at the lead he's got over second place. But Kosinski has won, if you're a man in this country, on the ultimate motorcycle, the 500cc two-stroke Grand Prix bike, and that's power that you can't even begin to describe to somebody.
That's exactly true, and the thing is there's no similarities between the Cativa that he was racing in the Grand Prix Tour and this Honda that he is aboard here today, outside of the fact that it has two wheels and handlebars. That's where the similarities end.
And so far, the tire controversy doesn't appear to be affecting Kosinski at all. He's riding with the best.
Takehito Mori makes the move inside of Kosinski. He goes wide. Oh, and he keeps it off of the walls. But he has lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, he sure did. Just cooked it in there. Overcooked it, really. Now, Crevier in that fifth position, trying to get up around Mike Hale in the 23 bike. Now, some say that Kawasaki has more power up here. Let's see. Boy, this one certainly does. A clean pass around Mike Hale. So Crevier now occupying the fourth position.
You can see the holes in the front right under the number 4 on the Ninja there, the ZX6R bike that both Crevier and Pascal are running. That runs the Ram Air induction as well. They came out with the design on the Kawasaki a couple of years back, and they've been refining theirs. A newer system on the Honda that's really breathes life, pardon the pun, into the Honda. And look how it's working there. As you see Barnes go sliding by Pascal.
Just rocketed right by Pascal Pigot. That is Michael Barnes on the number 34 machine. That was a tremendous pass. All right, here are your top 5 after 8 laps. Duhamel, good size lead over Michael Barnes, Keith Crevier, Pascal Pigot, and Mike Hale on the Honda, Kawasaki Honda.
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven. Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was, prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome, gleaming with stuff. For real? Or am I just dreaming? The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets.
Stopping your car is important. At Pep Boys, our ASE certified technicians understand that. Now get our premium $99.99 brake service for only $59.99 after rebate. Rate Vestas lifetime brakes installed only $59.99. Come to Pep Boys now.
You just spray it on. You just spray it on. Quicksilver wheel cleaner from Armor All. Just spray it on, and then just spray it off. That's it? That's it. Quicksilver wheel cleaner.
Go ahead. Make my day. Clint Eastwood. He takes the law into his own hands. And now you can watch his best movies anytime you want with time-lapse videos, totally uncut. Clint Eastwood Collection. It's classic Clint, hard as flint.
People have a nasty habit of getting dead around you.
Call this number now for your first video. Eastwood's Oscar-winning masterpiece, Unforgiven. The special price is only $9.99. And if you order by credit card right now, we'll send you the ultimate bonus video, Dirty Harry, absolutely free.
Life, life.
Will do, you punk.
Remember, your collection starts with Unforgiven, specially priced. To order your CLINT Eastwood Unforgiven video, call 1-800-618-6565. Use your credit card to receive Dirty Harry free or send $9.99 plus $3.49 shipping and handling to CLINT Eastwood, Department 3, Richmond, Virginia, 23280.
We are back at Daytona. The Supersport Challenge for 600cc basically production motorcycle continues. And this is second through seventh place, still chasing the leader, number 117, Miguel Duhamel on the Honda.
A lot of people were afraid of a breakaway. That's what we have right now, Steve.
And I think that breakaway is caused partially by the demise of Scott Russell going out on the very first lap of the race. That was going to be the classic duel here, Russell and Duhamel. They were both looking forward to it.
Boy, look at the horsepower out of Mike Hale's Honda. He blew right past Paycock and Crevier, and he's right at the backside of Michael Barnes now. There's the 107. That's the bike of Christians with Dorn on the Honda. He started deep in the middle of row 3, and he's up in the thick of this.
Well, I tell you, Steve, Crevier maybe didn't exaggerate the number of lead changes and the kind of action that we're going to see today. It is just absolutely incredible. Whoa, we got one down, slide right into your living room. Comes Ray Litton. The Kawasaki is down, but Ray is up, thumbs up to the stands. He's okay.
3 wide through the tri-oval.
And down into the chicane.
See how quickly he can go from second to fifth?
Unbelievable. That chicane is really testamental of all of these riders. It looks like the easiest part of the racetrack, but technically it's the most difficult.
And it's the most important, and you want to be in the right position when you come out of that chicane on the last lap. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be the leader. Because if you're the leader, chances are everybody else is going to draft by you by the time they get out of the banking at NASCAR 4, as they call it.
That's right. Let's give a tip of the helmet to number 107, Christian Zweindorn on the Honda. He is holding on to the back of this pack in 7th position. Not highly rated coming in, but doing a great job.
As we said, he started in the middle of row number 3. He's got a lot of tough people around him. He had a lot of tough people in front of him, including Doug Poland, who we haven't seen much of or heard anything of in this race. We expected a lot more out of the former world and former AMA national champion. There's Shane Turpin back in the 138. Boy, he had a good day. Starting 57 and working your way all the way up inside the top 15. That's a good afternoon.
You bet it is. Let's remember, what was it, 80 riders did this event in 2 waves of 40. Pascal Picot grabs right by 34, Michael Barnes on the Honda. And that really illustrates what you were saying earlier, Ralph. Position can be everything here.
And everybody's doing a little testing right now.
Yep.
Who they can draft by and when and where and so forth. Trying to strategize where they want to be. You get a good look at the rear wheel, that number 34 Arian Honda. Trying to figure out exactly when they want to make their move. Where do they think they're going to have the best advantage?
Well, right now, Miguel Duhamel is dominating this race on the Honda, way out in front. Ooh, and look way down low on the racetrack. That is Pascal Picot of the Kawasaki, and he is going to lose positions here. He was in second. Sliding, he is back to 5th place. Oh.
But you know what, Steve? I don't think he's too upset about that because that was a good opportunity to check that lower line and see what it did for him. It did nothing. He can be sure of the fact on the last lap, he's not going to be down there.
No, he is not. You're absolutely right. They're out here just surveying every inch of this racetrack, waiting for probably the last 2 laps, more importantly, the last lap. All right, here is this whole train of motorcycle. Barnes, Hill, Crevier, Picot, Kaczynski.
See everybody looking around, seeing who's behind him. Where is everybody? The one that to really take note of here is Mike Hale for future knowledge. Look at Mike now trying to make an outside pass on Barnes. The amount of experience that this young Texan has on this Honda is so minimal, it's ridiculous. Him and his father Bob, still works with his main tuner on the machine. They traveled together for years in a box van on the dirt track series, and now they're road racing. And here's another one on Michael Taylor out of Ontario, Canada. Looks like his day on his yellow Kawasaki might be over. Mike Hale is going to be one of the future stars of American road racing.
And I would tell you, T. Wayne Robertson, who is part of the RJR organization that funds the Smoke and Joe's team, holds this man in high regard, and that's where the checks come from.
Look how quickly Pascal got right back into this. We saw him go from 2nd to 5th, coming out of NASCAR 4, and he's right back to 3rd.
Mike Hale, you can see him tucking right in there behind those Kawasaki's.
Well, Christian's doing a great job hanging in there with these guys. He should be real pleased with this run here this afternoon. And now Pascal, notice this time he's a little bit higher, not quite as far down as where he was, by a different line. Now he tucks right down on the bottom of the stripe.
And he handles Michael Barnes.
Well, how'd you like to be that lap rider that just got a close-up look at these 6, 7 riders come blazing on through?
Just about blew him off the motorcycle. But I tell you, if you are a club racer, you're going to get a real riding lesson from some of the best in the world. Just keep your eye on their lines and try them yourself.
Kosinski now picks off 1 or 2, and Hale goes to the back of the train. We're just about to the cloud. As you see Kosinski's bike dancing around, we're just about to the point, Steve, where everybody's going to have to quit testing and start locking into where they want to be.
And also measure that tire. I think that's what we just saw in Kosinski. We're starting to get just a little bit worn out. Oh, it's pretty to watch.
That is the one thing I think that attracts most people who are non-motorcycle racing fans to the sport. Watching these riders and those machines working back and forth through S sections and so forth, it really is a ballet on 2 wheels.
And you don't have to be a little small guy to ride one of these things. It's not like horse racing where you got to be jockey size. Look at Scott Russell. He's a strapping young man. What you have to be able to do, though, is to make yourself as small as possible on the motorcycle. Get in behind that fairing, get your head down, and push as little wind as possible.
Look how they work up to the top and then right to the bottom of the banking, right at the absolute limits of where the racetrack meets and flattens itself back out, and that is so difficult to be down at that low of position on the racetrack and not dip the wheels down into. Oh, and Mike Hale with a nice move going into the chicane.
Oh, that was just absolutely gorgeous. Now he's got Pascal Picot again in front of him.
In a lot of slower traffic now. They've caught themselves right up in the middle of things. Look, they're just going to go right around the 44 machine there. Well, that's a scary position.
Oh, down low again is Pascal on that Kawasaki. Michael Barnes on the outside.
That was Kirk Etzel on the 44 who got a real up-close look at these guys. Look at all the other riders around him now. And don't think that that's just a simple thing, because forget, those guys are racing for positions, too.
Look at Kosinski. Kosinski on the Honda moves past the whole pack in the front straight and takes over the second position. Whoa.
That's just years of experience coming out. John Boy was waiting for the right time. Now they're going to get around the 162. They'll get rid of him in a hurry. Move on through, trying to get into some more open traffic.
That little twitching what we talked about with Kosinski's bike, that's not the tire, folks. That's Kosinski riding over the limit.
Oh, here's one now. Takahito Mori down. We saw him try to make the move on John Boy earlier, and now he's down and out. Todd Stoner, the 162. Finally, everybody in this top group of 6 or 7 gets past him. Mike Hale now trying to work his way back up. He gets through the 112. Of course, that's Picot. And it's all Hondas up front, Steve.
Remember, Scott Russell said he knew there was something wrong with his motorcycle when it wouldn't rev over 10,000 RPM. If you have a tachometer in your car, if it's a push rod style motor, it's probably a red line of 5,000. If you've got an imported overhead cams, it might be 6,500. Imagine these things are weak at 10,000. They'll rev 13, 14, 15,000 RPM.
And pull all the way through it, too. There's no drop-off in power when you get to the upper level. And now Michael Barnes gets past Kosinski as we go back into the chicane.
Yep, Kosinski falls back to third spot. Michael Barnes now second to Miguel Duhamel. Stay with us from Daytona. We'll be right back.
Race fans, enter the Pocono Indiana NASCAR MasterCard Fantasy Sweepstakes and win trips for 2 to the July 16th Miller Genuine Draft 500, plus the GMC Pace Truck.
The August 5th BRICKYARD 400 at Indianapolis.
And the 1996 Daytona 500.
Plus $5,000 in cash.
Apply for a NASCAR MasterCard by calling 1-800-937-POCONO and automatically enter the sweepstakes.
Or to enter the sweepstakes, just send your name, address, and phone number to the address on the screen.
For a complete set of rules and a free Pocono Raceway brochure, call 1-800-RACEWAY.
Everyone knows water and wax don't mix. Everyone's wrong. Introducing Wax Packs, the revolutionary car wax that disperses in soap and water to wax your car while you wash it.
I'm waxing.
New Wax Packs waxes while you wash.
Got to be a full moon.
Not bang bite better in the
Full moon, Rod. On Dobo.
The jig and tape catches the big one.
Fishing experts are an independent breed, and no two ever seem to agree,
Spinnerbait. Crankbait. Spinnerbait.
except when it comes to TNN's fishing team, Team TNN. They all agree TNN Outdoors is where the action is.
Sinker, Hank Parker's a race car driver.
None of these are fishermen.
Racer.
Boys, settle down. I'm a fisherman and a race car driver. And I just stopped by to invite all your bass whacker friends to watch my show each Sunday right here on TNN.
Oh, well, Hank, I'm glad we got that settled. Boys, I need your help. I'm headed to the lake, and I don't know what bait to use.
Oh, it's easy. Use cheese balls.
Lunker leveler?
No, use cheese balls.
What
man.
are you talking
You
about?
kids doesn't know lumber.
Don't pay him no attention.
You run everybody off. You know that.
Perhaps your future's up in the air. And you just don't know it. Aim high. Air Force.
Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. We're racing down the backstretch and diving into the chicane with Michael Barnes, who is running in second place along with John Kosinski, Mike Hale, that guy Pascal Picot. They're all chasing Miguel Duhamel in the final stages.
We talked about the chicane. Well, here is not how to do it. This was just moments ago. Number 131, Kent Kanasugu on the Kawasaki, fighting with 113, Richter. They were back at about 20th place, but that's exactly how not to do it. And as we described before, it is very deceiving. It is so difficult, and it looks so simple.
Luckily for Kent, he was able to fall onto that back protector that they wear, Steve, and he slid right across it. Kent Kanasugu was able to get up to race another day.
All right, the battle for second place is 23 Mike Honda. He takes that high line into turn number one, fighting with Michael Barnes on another Honda. Oh, man. What's this to the lead?
Boy, we took a little bit of a poll, a non-official poll earlier in the week, and everybody said that turn one was the biggest adrenaline rush on the racetrack.
Because you slow from such tremendous speed?
You carry so much speed down into that turn that it's a game with your brain of saying, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? And usually you do.
And if you can outbreak your opponent, it's a great place to pick up a position. It's a gut check, that's for sure.
I should say if you're John Kosinski or Mike Hale, usually you make it. You or I might have a little difficulty negotiating it in a rental car.
I would tell you, suddenly my helmet would be too small. All right. In just a second here, folks, as Miguel Duhamel nears our speed camera, we'll be able to tell you exactly what kind of a lead he's got. There's Miguel right there. Oh, boy. It's huge. Half a second is huge to this kind of racing. 9 seconds flat the lead for Miguel Duhamel, and all of this pack fighting for second. The best they can hope for is Mike Hale bobbles and falls back. All they can hope for is that Miguel runs the tire off that thing.
Man, Hale had to beat off the pegs at over 160 miles an hour, and look out William Sweeney on the 89 machine. Boy, is he going to get a good look at the leaders.
Oh, boy, is he? And Hale did all of that without a steel shoe, which, of course, he uses in dirt track racing. Oh, man.
They're inside of Sweeney, outside of Sweeney, over Sweeney, under Sweeney. Get out of the way, William.
Actually, he's doing exactly what he should do. That's holding his own line and not surprising anybody.
No, he did a great job in there. And that stuff, when you know those guys are blasting past you like that, the sensation of the speed differential is enough to get you scared and nervous. Look at Pascal and Crevier swapping paint in there. Back down to the very demanding turn number one as they re-enter the infield.
And all of the top riders know from this point on, you're no longer testing, no longer trying to find the line. If you don't have it now, it's going to be too late because we are in the closing lap of the Supersport Challenge.
Boy, the battle for turf is getting even fiercer now, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Look how wide Crevier went. The number 4 bike, he may have a problem there. Did he miss a gear, possibly?
Certainly looked like he did, Steve, and it really cost him. He's fallen way back.
Oh, yeah, from 2nd to 7th. He had to have had a transmission problem or just simply missed the gear. They shift literally thousands of times in this race.
He must have missed the gear because look how quickly he got past Kosinski and Zadorn there again. He's right back behind Barnes now. But this also allowed Pascal and Hale to break away a little bit. There you can see how far up Mike is, and Pascal's in front of him. Ledorn now gets inside of John Kaczynski.
You know, let's have another look here. Pascal Patat on the number 112 bike. Watch him here. He has a problem. He gets off of the racetrack. A little bit scary. On the brakes, but not too much. Trying to get back onto the macadam, and that hurt him.
And then off the other side of the racetrack, he goes down, Steve, right into the hay bale.
What do you think? Brake problem?
So Pascal is out of it.
You know, the motorcycle might have locked up on him, too. That could have accounted for how it got off the racetrack. He was just doing a great job trying to control it at all.
Well, that's a tough break for Pascal early in the season like that, to take a hard fall like that. Hopefully, he'll be able to recover from that.
It is a little relief, though, for the guys fighting for second place, and maybe even to Miguel Duhamel, our leader, because Pascal was one man we really counted on to mount a tremendous surge at the end of this race. He won't be around for it.
Well, you saw the white flag is out. Just one left to go, and here comes Kaczynski. Well, he tried to look to the inside of Hale and Crevier. Thought wiser, and he'll wait a little longer.
It's the last lap, but it's a long one, and plenty can still happen.
Well, you got to figure that, oh, we got another rider down. Is that Barnes? It sure is. Michael Barnes is down now.
I tell you, he got up like a gymnast. Did you see that? That body never even completely stopped until he was back at his feet looking for his motorcycle, and he found it.
Oh, corner worker's going to help give him a buzz start, try to get him back in the race and salvage as much as he can, but poor Michael Barnes is out of it. That leaves us with Dorn, Crevier, Hale, and Kaczynski now to battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
I tell you, Kaczynski may be the fun guy to watch here. That's the Honda 169, third in your picture.
Look at Hale dancing that rear tire wrap. Everybody's going to wait for the chicane. That's where it's going to get real crazy now. Here comes Kaczynski. Boy, he didn't wait till the chicane. He gets with Dorn and Hale. Now he's going hunting after Crevier.
Crevier in the green leathers on the Kawasaki finished second here a year ago. Looking down at his motorcycle as if maybe there was a problem.
I think he's also trying to catch a glimpse to see where the other guys are because he knows they're back there.
And there's Kaczynski, the reddish motorcycle at the front of this pack.
Drafting is so important. We even talked to Crevier about it earlier.
When you're leading down straightaway and you're pushing all that wind, you got, you know, like roughly 50% of your horsepower as opposed to the guy behind you. The draft is the only way to win a race. If you're leading on the last lap, which I've done, I think, for the last 3 years in a row on the 600, I've given it away on the last lap a couple of times. It's not the place to be is in the lead.
Well, there's Miguel. He is in the lead, and he has taken the checkered flag. 2 thumbs up from the Honda-mounted rider. Congratulations to Miguel Duhamel. Here's that fight for second.
And it's Kaczynski that's going to get the position. Mike Hale will take third. Crevier gets fourth. And Christian Gradorn, he'll come home in fifth. What a great ride to the checkered flag for Kaczynski.
And Steve Crevier has another disastrous last lap here at Daytona. But it's a absolutely delirious Miguel Duhamel making his victory lap. You are number 1, Miguel. Wave to your friends. The corner workers are all clapping for him. I tell you, he's celebrating a lot of things here, Ralph. The fact that he's won the first race of the season means he could win the entire championship.
That's for sure. He's also back from having ridden the Harleys. He's back in a bike he's had great success with. Expect good things out of him this year.
And more than anything else, I think he had a good time. Stay with us, folks. The Harleys are up next.
Now at Pep Boys, get any 4 of our 35,000-mile all-season steel-belted tires at an incredible low $109. That's right, any 75 or 80 series, any 4, just $109 at Pep Boys now. Stopping your car is important. At Pep Boys, our ASE certified technicians understand that. Now get our premium $99.99 brake service for only $59.99 after rebate. Ray-Vestas lifetime brakes installed only $59.99. Come to Pep Boys now.
major breakthrough in auto protection technology. Formula 2001 Super Protectant. It provides a more brilliant, longer-lasting shine than Armor All on vinyl and leather. And look, in the Arizona desert, Formula 2001 brought back the shine to UV-faded vinyl, rubber, even leather. Get the new standard in automotive protectant technology. Formula 2001, with 50% more active shining ingredients than Armor All. Get Formula 2001 products today.
I can't find this part anywhere, so I'm sure you guys don't have it.
I think we do. Hold on a second. Any auto parts dealer with the Key Parts sign is backed by over 200,000 custom parts and the right people to help you find what you're looking for. X-Tank's truck bed covers feature foam-padded frames that clamp on safely. Choose from sliding snaps or the easy peel-on, peel-off system. X-Tank makes the difference. No matter where you are, when you need the right parts and accessories, look for the Key Parts sign or call 1-800-AUTO-PARTS.
We're back at Daytona, and the Smoke and Joe's Honda team is celebrating. The man in the middle, number 117, Miguel Duhamel, has won here. Doug Poland, Mike Hill, his teammates, all salute him. In fact, let's take a look at the top 10. John Kosinski, what a wild, exciting ride on that Honda. The tire was a big question mark, proved to be not a factor at all. Doug Poland, as we said, finished in the top 10 in the 6th position. Michael Barnes struggled all day, came up with a 9th. Right now, let's go to Ralph with the winner.
Well, just a couple of years back, you said it went the same way. They had the red flag, and you ended up winning. You just pounded them right into the ground today when you got that restart. How did you do that?
Well, that was the race strategy. We talked it over with Ray and Al, the mechanics, and we said, okay. I saw what he had in the first part of it, and I knew the tires were sticking and not sticking. So I thought, I got to go. So I got a good start, and I said, I'll take off and see who comes. Hopefully nobody, and that's what happened.
Well, it looked like a lot of people were having trouble with tires, but you didn't, and you were running the most forward pace. How come?
I wasn't having trouble with my tires, just that I had the bike better set up. I think maybe I did. I have to speculate, but I was able to turn my bike real tight, real quick, and get up on it and slide and get on the gas. I moved my rear of my body down to the seat and try to get more traction. I think I just had maybe better lines around the racetrack. I know everybody was complaining about it, and our bike was good, perfect as far as not to run the draft, so I could run by myself out there.
Miguel Duhamel wins the 600 support race here at Daytona.
And thank you, Miguel, for not saying but on national television. All right, let's have a look at the second 10. And how about Jane Turpin? Started 57th and ended up 11th. And one of the great stories is Mike Hale finishing 3rd.
Well, that's a pretty strong finish for a third-place effort here in one of the most heated battles we've seen for the second, third, and so forth. What took place out there in the middle of that pass?
Well, boy, it was just a hard race. You know, you had to put your head down and stuff in every corner. It was just classic hard American racing. And it was really important to put yourself in a good spot coming off the chicane to draft at the finish line. And Smoking Joe's racing Honda ran great all day long. The new Honda S3 runs great. So we just came up a little short of a winner's circle here at Daytona, and we're happy.
Well, Mike Hale's had plenty of experience riding around on a big Harley. Earlier, Steve took a look at Harleys we'll be watching here today.
Usually, if you came to Daytona and could run, say 0.2 of a second quicker per lap than your best effort the year before, you'd be happy. Well, Scott Zampek, the defending Harley-Davidson 883 champion, is ecstatic. He is 2.5 seconds quicker than last year when he won the race. And he says there's really 3 reasons. Number 1, Dunlop is giving them a better tire. They're learning as they go. It's still a young series. Number 2, the competition is better, and Scott is having to ride harder, more aggressive, and that's knocked a few ticks off the clock. Number 3, believe it or not, is this muffler, which is now mandatory. They first ran it in Pomona, California, a year or so ago, right downtown to quiet them down. Well, they liked the new sound, and they figured out they got 3.5 more horsepower. So AMA says, hey, just leave them on. So not only will these bikes look quicker to you in our pictures, they'll sound a little bit different, too, but they still sound American.
The Harley field is rolling away. Sean Higby gets ready to get switched on. When we come back to Daytona, Steve and I will have a start of the Harley. Stay with us.
Buckle up. The flat turns of a Milwaukee Mile Beat tire wear. But last year it was just good, clean racing. Although Ricky Crazy tried to drive circles around the rest. With 15 laps left, race leader Elton Sawyer got hammered by the Stanley Tools Lumina. And Mike Wallace held on to take the win. It's the Busch Grand National Sears Auto Center 250, July 2nd, 2 p.m., 1 Central on CNN Motorsport. It doesn't get any closer.
This is Marty Robbins, #1 cowboy. Out in the first American Cowboy Balladeer brings you an exclusive collection of his classic cowboy hits. Marty Robbins, #1 cowboy. Now, the words and music that sparked a new interest in the American West, sung by the original Marty Robbins.
Strangers there among them has a big iron on his hip, big iron on his hip. But he said he came to ride the horse, the one they call the Bruce. But he didn't look like a cowboy.
Marty Robbins, #1 cowboy. 20 of the best. Not sold in stores, guaranteed by Cindy Lou's Music on LP, 8-track, or cassette.
To order COD or credit card in the U.S. or Canada, call 1-800-238-9300 or save COD and handling charges by sending $12.95 for LP or cassette or $14.95 for CD, plus $2 shipping and handling to Marty Robbins, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut.
Welcome back to American Sports Cavalcade. As we show you the grid for the Harley-Davidson 883, don't just look at the names, but look at where some of these people are from. We're talking not just Wisconsin, not just Redondo Beach, California. How about Australia, France? There's even a rider on a Harley from Japan. So the phenomena is worldwide.
It is incredible, the growth that we've seen out of the Harley-Davidson, and especially this division around the world. It is one of the most popular forms of racing you'll find anywhere, especially with the big crowd here at Bike Week as we hit the green.
That day, our first winner, Miguel Duhamel, he's right on the fence because his dad is starting in their field back in row number 8, the great Yvonne Duhamel.
Oh, we got one off already. 2 riders rolling right off of the racetrack.
That's Joseph Winston, the third, the 14 bike, and with 63, John Pace off at third, number 1. Now, up front are going to be the guys who dominated this series last year. Got Sam Pack, number 2, and John Hickory, number 1.
You saw the second wave rolling off, and I'm really surprised about Joe Winston. He's a regular on the AMA's Grand National Dirt Track schedule, so he's been on one of these 883s before. Not most experienced in road racing, but a good Harley racer.
Actually, our leader is Ken Boston. Got a tremendous start on that number 11 motorcycle.
You see Dave Eastock sliding inside of Chuck Blackman there. Of course, Blackman sporting number 4 because that's where he finished in the 883 road racing points last season.
Yeah, it's really easy to tell who the good players were from last year just by the number of the motorcycles. Now, this is a very affordable series to run. You buy a production 883, the dealer sells a kit that gives you the allowed modifications for performance and safety. You strap on one of those racing mufflers I showed you, and hey, you'll have a good time.
And it's an affordable Harley. The average Harley now costs, look at this pass down on the bottom by Zampad, and here comes Higby right with him as they blast past Boston.
Well, I think Zampad and Higby were taking no chances on the start. They just wanted it clean.
Well, that's the smart thing to do because the one thing you can't afford to do in this class, if you're going to run for the championship, is not score points. You have to score big points, not just 6-place points, big points, top 5 points every weekend.
Here comes Scott Zampad, the pole sitter. And he is going to, he's going to take the lead from Billy Graham on the number 5 Harley.
How good is Scott Zampad on one of these 883s? Well, this is the first year, not counting the year that he started, that he has not worn the number 1 plate.
And Zampad's bike is out of one of the most famous Harley dealerships in all the world.
John Tilley out of Statesville, North Carolina. The dealers in the Winston Cup stars is probably the best way to put them. Anybody who's in Winston Cup racing has a Harley. Got it out of Tilley's shop up in Statesville, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte.
And that's just about everybody in Winston Cup, from Harry Kent to Kyle Petty. In fact, this year the Winston Cup riders are having a Harley ride. Ooh, that Spurs just got part of the action. All the way from Pierce Point, California, back to North Carolina.
And you can be sure of the fact that Tilley will be in the middle of that pack somewhere.
So Higby, Zampad, running up front. Totally different sound of these motorcycles, a different look to them, and it takes a little different kind of skill to negotiate them around Daytona. They don't rev high like the Japanese and European motorcycles.
There's Chuck Blackman on the 4, Billy Grape on the 5. They're working around Boston on the 11 machine there. It's a slower motorcycle, so things don't happen quite as quickly. You can't horsepower your way out of a problem. When you get on the throttle, it's going to take it a second to get all the stuff to the ground to power you out of something, unlike one of the super bikes that you would see here at Daytona 200 by Rod.
I tell you, they're just getting warmed up here on the old Harleys, getting some temperature into the cylinder head, and the case is starting to go a little quicker with every lap.
There's the drafting technique. And that's probably the one area where Higbee with the number 1 plate is probably a little less experienced than Zampak. Sean Higbee has not been racing at Daytona as many years on an 883 as has Scott Zampak. So when we come down to the final lap, if Z-Man, you see that big Z blazing across the front of his head, has any advantages, that's where it's going to be on Higbee. Higbee will be good later in the year when we get to some of the more technical racetracks, say, for instance, Loudon, New Hampshire, which you'll see right here on American Sports Cavalcade.
Well, here's Z-Man. That's Sean Higbee showing the drafting expertise that Ralph was talking about. But I tell you what, Rob, I think Higbee's learning quick.
Oh, he's a great racer, and he has really got his bike dialed in here. Every time he comes back here, he runs better. So the one thing we're seeing as we watch Boston and Eaststock here, the 11 and 92, is that Zampak's dominance at Daytona, that curve is dwindling down, and Higbee is getting up to the same playing field in a hurry.
Got into speed. He outbrakes Zampak, and is back up in the lead. Higbee I'm talking about.
Well, let's watch and see what they do as they go into the chicane, because that's really going to be the telltale as we come to the last lap. Who's going to get in and out of that chicane better, and who's going to be in the right position? Chuck Blackman on the 4-bike speaking in as well.
And I tell you, shifting is critical on these Harleys. It's not quite like butter on some of those Japanese bikes. It's something you've got to do very authoritatively. Make sure that you get that gear.
There's that battle for third, fourth, and fifth. Billy Gray from the 5. He'll take over fourth for now. This has really become a dealer series, too. You mentioned Don Tilley's involvement in the series. Every one of these riders is backed by a Harley-Davidson dealer. And those dealers have heavily gotten involved in the series, and that's great to see.
And not only are these the cheapest Harley-Davidsons that you can buy, it's one of the few models you can actually get. There's a 2-year wait for some of the heavy irons.
This is probably the one motorcycle you could actually walk into a showroom and potentially buy that afternoon.
And be on the racetrack that weekend.
Blackman, Grace, and Boston with Boston now moving to the front of that little pack.
Hey, how about it? We got us a new player, folks.
Scott Zampak has won 22 Harley-Davidson 883 road races. He is the winningest racer in any one particular division in AMA history.
But I tell you, John Higbee is not happy unless he's leading this race. And he is right now asserting himself on that number 1 plate right there. There's the champion from 1994.
Winning that plate was one thing. Keeping that plate away from Zampak for another year would be phenomenal.
So there he goes around Zampak. Hey, payback for, well, you know what? You're right. Zampak hated having to put that number 2 in his motorcycle. This is how much he hates it. He's down inside.
It was a very, very long winter for Scott Zampak and Don Tilley. They, like you said, Steve, absolutely hated giving that plate up.
But I tell you, Zampak is really vulnerable coming off the banking into turn number 1. You saw right there, Higbee didn't only outbrake him, but outbrake him by bike length.
Well, Sean better hope he gets a real good run into turn number 1 on that last lap, because I think it's the chicane area and drafting off that last corner where Zampak is still going to have a bit of an edge. So Higbee's going to want as much of a lead as he possibly can through this infield to try to hold on Zampak in those last couple of corners.
Well, Zampak right now making it 6, but let's see, under-braking now. Watch Higbee. This is where he seems to have a little more, I don't know if it's expertise, but maybe it's more brakes. When they get up on the banking, he's in trouble, but down here, he's the boss. Right. No, just make it work.
They'll make the transition up onto the banking now. You can see Scott looks back to see where Higbee's at.
You better look to his right. What do we say about Zampak being the boss on the banking? No longer. Look at this. And again, just like the previous race, You maybe want to consider that tire a little bit?
Well, it is a sprint race, and with the competition as close as it is, they can't wait too long. But stay with us, because when we come back, we'll find out who is the boss at Daytona.
Brought to you by Pep Boys Automotive Super Center.
Got a car, but need an engine? Then come to Pep Boys, where you'll find a huge selection of over 1,200 quality engines for your car or light truck for as low as $699.99. Import or domestic, all have a 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. And you can charge it with your Pep Boys credit card and pay as little as $35 a month. So come to Pep Boys and drive away happy.
Everyone knows water and wax don't mix. Everyone's wrong. Introducing Wax Packs, the revolutionary car wax that disperses in soap and water to wax your car while you wash it.
I'm waxing.
New Wax Packs, waxes while you wash.
Opryland Hotel is a very exciting place to work. Not just beautiful, but exciting. You have something different to do every day.
They're paying me to learn my job, my profession, what I hope to do in the future.
I have more benefits here than I've ever had at any place that I've ever worked. I feel very much appreciated and needed.
Your managers, if you have a problem, you can go to them and talk to them, and they listen to you.
They respect me here at Opryland Hotel, and I like that.
I love dealing with the people. It makes my day. I mean, being one-on-one with them, it gives me a sense of I'm helping somebody.
Opryland Hotel is now hiring hourly employees and offering excellent benefits, including child care, shopping discounts, and family season passes to Opryland Theme Park. Call 1-800-899-OPRY.
If any of my friends ask, what I thought about Opryland, or if they would like to work here, I'd say definitely work here, definitely.
Mark Chestnut takes the stage for a good cause.
So we can help these big kids.
Ben Johnson's Pro Celebrity Rodeo, Saturday on CNN.
I guess every kid dreams about being a racer sometime or another. I never imagined anything like this. You see the fans and how fired up they get? I guess racing's like life to me. You can never really control it. But if you give it everything you got and get a little bit of luck, it's going to be okay.
TNN Motorsports. It doesn't get any closer.
Welcome back to Daytona, and look at this in the Harley Quinn Sport. Well, 5 wide for the lead with 2 laps to go, Ralph. Diving back into turn number 1, it's Bostrom back out in front. I'll say that had the crowd at Daytona on their feet, and us too as well. That was a wild piece of video there.
And that killed Zampak because he lost a lot of ground to these two. Steve Bostrom with the Bartell sponsorship on his bike.
Followed by Sean Higby.
Boy, that really helped Higby because that opens up a big gap. Look, it's got to be a second and a half between Higby, who's running second, and Zampak, who's running back in third.
And Scott is followed by 92 JV Stock and Billy Graff on number 5 in the 5th spot.
Higby's going to sit right there with Bostrom, and hopefully they can pull away the Bartell's bike as they make their way up, and we got to let her down.
We sure do. It's Emmanuel Mavon, number 72. The bike took a bad hit, and he's obviously a little bit of pain, but let's see. He's up. He rides the Harley, man. Let's have another look at it.
Coming into the chicane section, real tricky here. You get through the first transition. It's the second one that bites him.
Yep, just got it leaned a little too far to the right. And okay. The bike is supposed to hit the tire wall, not the rider.
And how about a tip of the hat to the corner worker who's smart enough to put the hay bale in front of the rider for that extra little bit of protection while he waited to make sure the rider was okay. Nice job by the corner worker. Some of the best in the business involved with the AMA.
And here's one of the best in the business, Scott Zampak. We counted him out for a moment. No, he's back up in front, just ahead of 11th Vince Bostrom, Sean Higby, the number 1 bike, number 5 Billy Graff, and J.D. Stock in that order.
I mean, it was amazing. We were looking at Zampak just a handful of turns earlier. He was a second and a half behind. Now he's a second and a half or more in front.
as they come off the banking. That's Hickey on the number 1 bike.
Steve Zampak is just formed. He is just really working these guys.
But wait a minute, hold it. Now they're just riding around him. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with him or that motorcycle. He just went from first to 5th.
And it's the last lap. The white flag is out. Boy, if Zampak's got anything left in that Tilly-tuned Harley, he better start showing it now.
Oh, well, that was cruel and unusual punishment, whatever happened.
Because nobody's going to let you practice drafting them here now. They're all going to make those Harleys as wide as they can. Well, he's got Bostrom and Craig.
Got 2 more to go.
And the last one's going to be the toughest of the bunch.
I tell you, this could be a tremendous finish. Zampak could just gather it up here. That had to be a huge blow to his psyche. But it looked like he had it in hand and then pulled all the way back to 5th.
Where will he try to get Davey stuck?
I don't think there's any doubt of that. It'll be up high somewhere on the banking.
I don't know if he's going to wait that long. It looks like he was trying to get him coming out of that turn. No, can't do it there. It's going to have to be on the banking. You're right.
A bit of smoke coming out of Eaststock's bike number 92. Little blow by the rings. That can't help the power one bit. All right, come on, Z-Man.
Well, you saw Higby take a quick look back to see where they were. Look at the huge lead he's got. We said that he would have to have a big lead on the last lap going into the chicane if he had a chance to win. He's got it right now. Let's see what Z-Man can do.
The chicane. That should separate the men from the boys here. Look at Zampak come around. What a huge charge as he goes into the chicane.
Look at the speed he's carrying into the chicane. He super crosses over the first set of rumble strips. He did a double jump there. Hickey goes from first to third. Can he get passed by Eaststock at least?
He may get Eaststock. I don't think he's going to get Zampak. Because Zampak doesn't have to worry about turn 1. The checkered flag will be out by that time.
And here comes Bostrom now. He's going to take second, and Glade gets in the mix, and I swear they touch wheels in there.
Oh, I say this may be a single mark series, but it's got the kind of side-by-side, handlebar-to-handlebar racing that we love.
Zampak is going to get the win, but everybody's going to take second.
That's right. There's a 4-way photo for second. As they put a box around the winner, Scott Zampak. Terrific. We'll be back to talk, please.
It's on my side. Yes, it is. It's on my side.
At 5:01, work time ends and Miller time begins. Because nothing finishes a day like a beer that always finishes smooth. Miller High Life. Your time, your time.
So I got my new 1995 Edelbrock catalog in the mail, and look what I discovered. Power. Power for whatever you drive. That's what you get from Edelbrock. Edelbrock manifolds, Edelbrock carburetors, Edelbrock cylinder heads, Edelbrock camshaft and components, Edelbrock exhaust systems, Edelbrock air cleaners and valve covers, Edelbrock Harley products, and more. Discover the power for yourself. Just call 1-800-FUN-TEAM for your free 95 Edelbrock catalog. That's 1-800-FUN-TEAM for your free Edelbrock catalog.
It's a major breakthrough in auto protection technology. Formula 2001 Super Protection. It provides a more brilliant, longer-lasting shine than Armor All on vinyl and leather. And look, in the Arizona desert, Formula 2001 brought back the shine to UV-faded vinyl, rubber, even leather. Get the new standard in automotive protection technology. Formula 2001, with 50% more active shining ingredients than Armor All. Get Formula 2001 products today.
I guess every kid dreams about being a racer sometime or another. I never imagined anything like this. You see the fans and how fired up they get? I guess racing's like life to me. You can never really control it. But if you give it everything you got and get a little bit of luck, it's going to be okay.
TNN Motorsport. It doesn't get any closer.
We're always asking you folks to tell us your unusual fishing secrets on the Basswhackers fishing pole. Like this one from Bruce Anderson of Dover Plains, New York. He says you'll attract more fish if you blow bubbles in the water. Hey, lunch out!
to get least goggle with that Mickey stuff? There's another successful fishing secret. If you've got one, send it to the address on your screen. If we use it on bass whackers, we'll send you a prize.
The only sound here at Daytona International Speedway now is the popping of champagne corks. Here's our unofficial top 10. Scott Zampak, what a wild last lap performance. Ralph Shaheen is with him.
Well, Scott, congratulations from his motorcycle owner and tuner, Don Tilley. Get this helmet off here and talk to you as you go back to try to regain that number one plate. Boy, you know this thing was tight all the way around until that last lap. And then, man, did you find some horsepower. What did you do? I'll tell you, I was getting really sick of getting drafted up here at the line by like 5 or 6 bikes. I was riding about as hard as I could through the infield, so what I did is the last lap up the back straightaway, I had 2 clicks left on my steering dampener. I turned it up full, and I just kept the thing pinned all the way through the chicane. I hit the first bump. I jumped the bike into the chicane like I do my CR250, and I must have pulled enough bike lengths that they couldn't catch me because I knew I'm always stronger through there. And I never rode it 110%. I always rode it 90%. Even though I was stronger, they're like, he's stronger, but they didn't know I had it in reserve. And there was no way I was going to lose this race. I've been working hard for a couple weeks down here, and, you know, I carried the number one plate. I've won more races in this class than any other rider, and Don Tilley and I make a great team. Steve, I guess if you're going to win a Harley-Davidson Twin Sports race, you've got to be a pretty good supercrosser.
And Linda wick up the steering dampener as well. Let's have a look at the next 10. Jim Leslie in the 11th spot. Jay Springsteen, the legend, comes in to number 13. Ralph?
Billy, that was a pretty amazing fact, and you got some marks on the side of your motorcycle. Tell me about what was going on from your viewpoint.
Well, it was very close on every turn, you know, and we were just taking turns actually who was going to lead and going in the turn, so at times we were so close that our bikes were touching.
So tell me, was that the plan you were hoping to execute when you were preparing for that last lap?
Oh, exactly. I was trying a few things prior laps and see where I could kind of set the guys up for the draft and what would work best for me, and I guess I did it just right.
Steve, anytime you can pull a third place out of that pack, you did do it just right.
Yep, worked out just ducky. Well, today you